jokes?
No.
You sure?
No, I don't have a joke. I'm glad you ready.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
All right, does anybody know what this is in my hands?
Looks like headwear. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I got this like 20 minutes ago at the, what is that, Pike Place Market? That's a place? All right, I'm completely not on, everything's foreign to me, so I'm gonna refer to things that you're used to and you take for granted as completely foreign and new things. All right, I'm gonna talk about it like a tourist almost. So, yeah, I was down there, they're tearing down the viaduct, is that it?
Yeah.
So I got to watch them tearing that thing down, so I just kind of got absorbed and sat there and got stuck for a moment. Because it made me think about something we talked about earlier this morning. I'm going to get into this in a second, because I want you to know how this relates to how to hustle and win. But earlier this morning, we were talking about things that we do to heal and get through our traumas and to deal with all the struggles we have. And a lot of people gave a lot of like healthy suggestions. We were talking about meditating and fasting and going to work out, and you know, I liked all those answers, but then I'm one of those people like, what about those of us that get drunk? You know, like what about those of us that need to go punch through a wall or something? Now, not saying that that's healthy, but there's a necessity in destruction too. So destruction, as long as you're not destroying yourself, can sometimes be healthy. Sometimes you have to destroy old things that had to be torn down in order to build something better in its place. If you leave that old thing there, like they said, the viaduct was sinking into the ground, you leave it there, it's going to become a worse and worse problem. Sometimes you have to do the uncomfortable thing of tearing something down with something better in its place. So I'm going to, in the course of this conversation, probably tear down a lot of old ideas. A lot of old ideas about money and wealth and business. And if you can, if it makes sense, take notes. If you want to film, you can film. If you want to record, you can record. I'm going to say a lot of stuff. I might seem like I'm all over the place, but it all connects to the core issue here, which is self-sufficiency. Does that word mean anything to anybody here? Self-sufficiency? It means to be able to take care of yourself.
Freedom.
And that's freedom. That's autonomy. That's what we talk about when we say sovereignty. You can't be sovereign if you're in need of assistance, right? And you don't get to be independent if you're in need of assistance. So you got to take into account first all the forms of assistance that we might take for granted. Sometimes we count on others to be our emotional support or to be there for us, to help us through things that when they don't do these things, we feel like it was a big letdown. And so for a lot of us, the expectation that somebody else is going to form this we that's going to get you to your mission. Yes, sir.
Well, like that's me, man. Like, 'cause like I feel like people are on this earth for a reason. You know, so like I try and find as many connections as I could.
How's that left you feeling?
Well, empty, because like really, I'm by myself.
So your formula ain't going right. So let's get this. We're gonna talk about being solutionary. We're gonna talk about this like it's a mathematical problem. So I got to first, so like you doing it because out of love, your heart make you want to connect. That's natural. And then when you try to do it, it go wrong. And then it make your heart do something else. All right? This is where we come from with this mentality that we are doomed. I can't count on my own folks. It be your own people. These narratives of pain and trauma that we reproduce, and we're used to them, and we've normalized them, and we take it for granted that your own brother gonna stab you in the back. We take it for granted that your own homie is going to kill you. We take it for granted that your mother not going to love you as much as she needs to, or whatever else are these narratives. If you're a man, your woman can never love you good enough. If you're a woman, your man don't never love you enough. You know? And by keeping these narratives playing in your head, you actually subject yourself to a whole lot of suffering. It's that unhealthy we that can't win. I need you to leave that we alone now, and you're going to join the we that does win. The we that does win thinks differently. So we know that in our heart we want to be drawn to each other, but then when we get close to each other, if there ain't no terms of engagement, if me and you say, yo, we're going to invest $500 each and then we're going to make money together, but we don't have nothing on paper, nothing spelled out, nothing effective for what if we lose money? Well then when something goes that's not within our discussion, now we got confusion. And that confusion is going to lead to problems. It's going to lead to hostility. I'm going to feel like he left me hanging, or he's going to feel like I left him hanging. And this happens a lot, don't it?
Yeah.
This is common. This is not just involving big money. This is involving a bake sale. This is involving a rent party. This is involving paying a water bill. This is involving you ride with somebody all the time. They don't ever chip in on gas. Alright, so there's levels and layers to this. And so I'm going to get to how we create a real community, real support system, real nation building, all that. But I need to first begin with you as the individual. So we're going to first break everything down to the simplest bit of data. What does it mean to make money? What does it mean to do business? What does it mean to hustle? All these things mean that you're supplying a demand, right? Somebody needs something, and you are the person that can fulfill it. I don't care if it's vegan cookies or if it's back massages. You do something that there's people that want it, and therefore you can get paid and you'll get sustained for it. Sometimes you don't even get money. Back in the day, did we always use money? No, we had barter and trade. You know, you grow the onions and I fix your roof. So there's a balance happening. Nowadays, we got a lot of imbalance, a lot of things out of order. So I had to start with, what does it take for you? I wanted to start, it's been forever since I taught off the board. What does it take for you? This is you right here in the center. The black dot. You are the black dot in the center of your universe. And from there, you naturally are going to have radiation. Radiation is energy, heat, light, whatever you want to call it, coming out of you. And because it's energy, it could be a circuit to where it got to come back to you, right? So your energy, that you might think of it in real metaphysical terms, in electricity and in discussions of energy, what do we use as the measurement for what's flowing, like electricity-wise or energy-wise? The current, right? That's currency. When you're getting currency from people, that's energy exchange. So ultimately, you take the money out of the equation, there's energy being exchanged. People think that the only way that you can have an exchange is through money, and that's the first thing we need to break down. You're having an exchange right now. You're already investing right now. You're already spending right now. You know what you're spending? You're spending time. You know what you're paying attention. And if you don't see the value in that, then your whole value system is fucked up. Because it means you don't value your own time. If you don't see that you're actually spending right now, and you hope to reap on your investment, y'all want a reward on this investment, right? This little bit of time has got to turn into something. And I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to say it needs to turn into something. And if it doesn't turn into something, then you should say that this was not what you wanted it to be, and the next experience you have has got to turn into something. Because I want that to be your standard. No more engagements that don't serve you no way. There's got to be a value to it. There's got to be a benefit. So when we think about the energy we spend, right, we're giving it to other people, we listening, we taking stuff in, we want it to turn into something that we can then go on and use. Right? So I'm going to give you premises for how to make money that anybody can use. I'm talking about, this doesn't require you having an internet account, this doesn't require you being a popular person, this doesn't require you being very highly literate. This is just about you understanding that there is a simple principle to guaranteeing that your place in this energy exchange is healthy. Because I'm going to tell you what original people have had to get used to in this society is being exploited. The exploitation of your natural resources. I'm not talking about what's in the land that your people are custodians of. I'm talking about what's within you, within this land right here. So, as you said, you felt empty. There's reasons for that. Your currency, your voltage, your juice is being drained. Anybody can relate to this? You give to people, you give to situations, you give to somebody or a group, and it don't give back. You're investing, but these are poor investments, right? So you know you're doing this. This takes a lot out of you. Now, if you're doing this and you keep on pouring into cups with a hole in it, you know you got some people. Can anybody identify the people around them that might be the cup with the hole in it? All right. The way you identify the cup with a hole in it is no matter how much you pour in, what happens? The cup never stay full. They always gonna run out, and then they're gonna come back to you for a refill because they know you got the juice. Now, whoever you are, you got more juice than the people that come to you for the juice. Am I right? That's right. The people that come to you for the juice, they see the juice in you. And you might be like, what's wrong with y'all? Because you got low self-esteem. Don't worry, I do too. The way you know you got low self-esteem is people talk about you way greater than you think of yourself. That's all it takes to have low self-esteem, which means most of us got it, right? Which means you have not valued yourself right. You have not put yourself at the right value. You might think that within the scale of humanity, like I'm right about here, and then you put somebody else above here. But if you don't know this person that you put about here, they really might be about here in reality, and all this might be an illusion. Don't compare your reality to somebody's highlights. You're looking at your cutting room floor. You're looking at the edits and things that people don't even, you're looking at things that you know about yourself privately, all your failures. When we look at the world and everybody's putting on this image of success, that's an image, because when you see that, it makes you believe that this is where I need to invest. That's what I need to look at. But what I want you to do is just change the energy structure. Just change the, you know what I mean? I hope this is making sense. Is it making sense so far? A little bit? Kind of? We're getting there. Don't worry, this is going to make sense in the end. So if you focus on this building right here, instead of looking at these, then you can think about that. Then you can think like that, right? But you first got to be aware of what's right here. So let's take who you are, as you are, right? And take something as simple as this. I don't know what this is, but I'm into this kind of stuff because I'm a historian, I'm into culture, I write books about this kind of stuff. I want to know about the history of original people. I like to say indigenous means inner genius, that's in your genes. So I know this means something. And so when I saw it, I looked around for the cheapest stuff I could find. This thing was a dub, $20, right? Now, if I go on eBay, and I'm gonna challenge you, you can go on eBay right now and type in Indian headdress. And make sure you mention the beads and the metalwork and all that, and you find one similar to this. What do you think this would retail for on eBay? At least, right? And now, that didn't take a lot for me to do. You understand what I'm saying? And I want you to realize that in this hour of thinking and doing, because I could have just bought it, put it on eBay that same moment, right? But in that hour, I could have made, off a $20 purchase, sold it for $50, I could have made $30. What that means is I have the skill set to make how much per hour?
$30 an hour.
$30 an hour. But if I don't value myself that way, then I'm not going to keep wanting to make $30 an hour. Y'all get it so far? Yeah, are y'all with this? It's got to be perspective. So I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to ask you, for the specific thing you do, can you tell me how much it's worth per hour? I mean, I can name a ton of stuff I do. Writing books, lecturing, and I can break it down. When I was a school teacher, I got a doctorate so that my salary went up. I got higher certified so that my salary went up. And then I got an easier position so that I had less of a daily obligation. School teachers work 180 days out the year, and as an art teacher, I worked even less than that. But I did a great job with what I did because I didn't believe in testing and all that other stuff. So I taught my kids the way I wanted to. When I calculated it, it was like $80, $90 an hour. Now that's not the way that's not the way we think about it. We think about our numbers like a salary because we think of ourselves as workers. This morning we talked about get out of thinking yourself as a worker. Get out of that. That's the exploitation ethic. You're going to work yourself to death without getting to your goals. Set a goal and work rapidly towards that, and you'll be surprised how fast your old goals become old goals. Does that make sense? Y'all comfortable with me asking you how much you think you're worth per hour? I mean, don't just say $500 an hour and you're not ready to go do it. I don't want you to do it for self-esteem's sake, not fake self-esteem. I want it to be real. Because think about a job you've done and you were able to knock it out in 2 hours, but it made you $400. And then it's really just between you and yourself. I just want us to put it out there, so it's not all about me saying all these words. I want us to have some level of commitment to this new earning rate. You're about to set your new rate. I mean, if anybody's gonna set your salary, if anybody's gonna set your pay grade, who's it gonna be? You. So who wanna start? Who wanna tell me what their hourly wage should be?
I think my hourly wage should be about, I'd say about $50 an hour. Right?
All right, doing what?
Well, I'm doing construction.
Absolutely. You know, I know people that stand in front of that Home Depot. They know how to get $300 out of a 4-hour job. Calculate that hourly rate, and then you won't judge that man standing in front of Home Depot the same. You know? Who else? Anybody got an hourly rate? Yes, sir.
I'm a retired educator, and a couple of college degrees, side study, African history, our history. I've spoken on numerous college campuses, Black history as world history. I've gotten as much as $1,000, $1,500 an hour.
Just to speak, just to tell people what you think.
1 hour lecture.
Right. And there are not a lot of opportunities to get paid doing that, but to know that you deserve that is the beginning. Because then you start creating opportunities. We're going to talk about that in a minute, where we actually create the wealth around us that can take care of us. Because as you build, you can build your circle around you, and you build that community around you that takes care of you, that funds you, that needs you, that is willing to pay for what you do, and they're willing to, and they're learning how to make money too. We're all going to learn how to make money together, because I heard some statistic this morning that in Seattle, the median income is like, what, $80,000, $90,000, right? And then the black median income is about $26,000. Now, when you hear that, it sounds terrible, right? I have a slightly different perspective about a lot of stuff, so I'm always thinking differently about things. For me, and I advocate that we should all try to be solutionary. What that means is to be the solution for the problems we experience, and so on and so forth. When I see that, I see barriers to elevation. I see lack of access, lack of funding, lack of philanthropy. I see a lot of institutional stuff. But for black people to survive in a city where you gotta make $90,000 to be regular, and you're surviving at $26,000, that's nothing short of godly. It's just about how you perceive it. It's literally about how your perspective. See, when you shift the perspective, then you make yourself a person deserving of money and wealth. When you have that self-esteem that you say, I'm not deserving of success, and successful people are corrupt people, and wealthy people are bougie people, and you create this box for people that are doing better than you, you don't allow yourself to do better. But when you say the people that are most deserving of wealth are people like myself, when you say I deserve to become not only stable, but a philanthropist, the trajectory changes. Because you say that I deserve this. It's a big thing in saying what you deserve and saying who you are and what's coming to you. Because then you can actually, see what I'm saying? That is real magnetic. If you stop pushing it away from you, see, we don't realize you're pushing wealth and love away. That's what when you do too much to get too little for all you do and all you feel what I'm saying? You're being repulsive. You're pushing things away from you that are trying to get to you. And that's because we've been programmed. We've been taught to be dysfunctional. We've been taught to sabotage ourselves. Even when people hear, oh, 26,000 and 90,000, they're like, oh, shame, shame. Shame, shame, black people. And I don't get that from it. Because I'm like, yo, y'all made it still? How? How do you make it? How do you not kill yourself? And then we realize 40 deaths in 40 days, we are killing ourselves. You get what I'm saying? Those are suicides. Those ain't murders. You know what a suicide by proxy is? Has anybody heard of that?
Yeah.
We talk about this in How to Hustle and Win. Suicide by proxy is when you allow somebody else to kill you. You live a life that allows you to die. I know if I kill somebody, my chances of living a long life is what? Are they lengthened or shortened? Realistically, if I kill, then I'm going to be killed. So it's just signing up for a death sentence. Street code. I don't even want to go through the jail to do it. Somebody else do it for me. And that is suicide. And we're seeing slow suicide when we eat ourselves to death. That's a slow suicide. When we drink ourselves to death, when we just escape to death. Those are slow. What I want you to do is invest in yourself by first changing that perspective. In How to Hustle and Win, the first thing that I ask people to do is to look at yourself a little differently. Look at the situation differently. I'll give you one funny story. Alright. This is me taking some cultural stuff. I can make money off this, but I'm building a museum, so I like having it. And I feel like it'll have more value later on anyway. But you can go to estate sales and auctions and make crazy money. Anybody know about that? Mm-hmm. If you don't, I'm going to give you, this right here will be worth your time. Now this is the important part. .net. Write this down, mark it down. I won't mind because I do have ADHD, and I won't mind if you're browsing on your phone and looking at it while I'm talking, because I know I can do two things at once too. But you can put in your zip code and find all the estate sales from all the wealthy folks that have died. Wow. And their homes are being liquidated, and you can walk through their house like it's a garage sale and take every collectible, ceramic, china, whatever they got, and if you go on Sundays, it's 50% off half the time. Okay? And you grab this stuff and you put it on eBay. You put it, if you find high enough stuff, then you actually go to one of the auctioneer sites. You go to liveauctioneers.com, and you actually have them auction this stuff. I'll give you a perfect example. I went to an auction, I got a dresser that was antique dresser. It was an American Empire, and I'm just saying this so you can look up this kind of stuff on eBay and know that it was like a flame mahogany dresser. Now, at auction, nobody else bid on it. I bid $100. I got this dresser. It looked old. I looked it up. It was worth $1,500. Cost me $100. $100 in a pickup truck. $1,500. This right here is independent income. This right here is where you will need to learn appraisers. You will need to meet appraisers who can value the types of things that you can get. Because remember, these are people that spend their lifetimes collecting this stuff, and when they die, their kids didn't see the value of it. All right? That's just one way that you can start determining your own economic future. Just one of them, right? But I want you to think about this, because this kind of thinking is what we got to have again, because we're resourceful. Remember? We're ingenious. We're indigenous. We can take anything and make something out of it. We took a bundle of straw and made a broom. You know what I mean? And this right here, I saw somebody selling these right by the waterfront. Glass straws. Now, those of you from the streets are going to be able to really appreciate why I find them selling glass straws so poetic. So yeah, you look, everybody clicking, they're clicking for everybody. Now, this white lady was selling the hell out these glass straws at a premium too. $10 for a box of glass straws. You know why? Because plastic is bad. So you get a metal straw or a glass straw or something to save the whales, because the jellyfish chew on a straw and die, and we want to save the jellyfish. Right? So glass straws. Now, where I come from, glass straws is outlawed. If you get caught selling glass straws, you go to jail. Does anybody know why? What do you use glass straws for, folks? Smoking crack cocaine. Alright, so this is a crack pipe, everyone. This lady is down at the waterfront selling crack pipes to white people.
And they're buying them.
And they are buying them and eating it up. There is a man across the walkway from her who is spraying bleach on shirts mixed with coffee. And he's making designs of, they're just brown designs on a shirt, stenciled with bleach and coffee, for $30. I'm not saying that you can sell glass straws right now. I'm saying that you might get in trouble for trying to sell glass straws. I'm saying that they don't have a problem selling any goddamn thing, because there's an industry that allows them to do so proudly. Remember, there's people making products out of weed, out of cannabis now, that can say so proudly, hey, we've got the CBD now, we've got this, we've got that. And remember, you couldn't tell your own mama about this 5 years ago. That's a disparity. and access. All right? So how do you destroy barriers to access? The ultimate barrier to access exists in your own head. It exists within the realm of possibilities. What is it that I can do, and then what is it that I can't do or don't do or ain't meant to do? I love telling people stories like, oh yeah, Colonel Sanders started chicken when he was, how old?
65.
65. It's a great story, but I'm pretty sure he stole the recipe from a black man.
Yep.
The story is nice though because it tells you that at any age you can get on. I would say this though. The longer you've been on this planet, the more you've absorbed its cancerous ways. The more you've learned to think the way that this world wants you to think about yourself as an original person. And by original, I'm really talking about black folks, but the rest of us from all over the world, we come from black folks. All right, we just have a different relationship because we've kind of lost our touch with our own blackness. I was in a barbershop earlier, and the Filipino barber told me that the first Filipinos didn't look like him; they were black.
Yep.
He said, I talked to some Vietnamese, they told me the same thing. So amongst themselves, they know the history of their people. But what he told me was he didn't feel like he was one of them. And I said, man, look at you, man. You still got that in your blood. Like, that's you. You come from that. So we have to take the rest of the world and teach them to love who they are and their own history. That is a bigger expansion of your market than you might realize. There are people all over the world that they've been taught wrong about black people for a long time. In India, they still use the word Negro because they don't know. But when I went to India and I brought the knowledge that the black community had blessed me with as a teenager, being a 5%er, and I came back to India and as I talked to the people there, I would say things like Kalo Lok Prothom Lok, which means the black man is the first man. And they would just be with it. I'm talking about, yes, like this is the first time they heard this. And this was like so exciting because remember, they're dark skinned, but over there hasn't been a love your black skin campaign. There hasn't been a melanin campaign until recently. In India recently, you can go on Instagram now and look up this hashtag. There's two I want you to look up if you got your phones. And we're going to make this a little bit interactive because I don't want it to make it a lecture, but I got so much stuff that I want to share that, like, when I get an opportunity to go through stuff, I just want to cover every bit and piece of it that I can. After like 3 months from now, you're going to see me coming with way more streamlined stuff. Like, you're not going to hear me talking like this. This is me, like, excited because, like, I haven't done this in a while. And not because I haven't had it to give out, but because I was sitting on my hands. So if I can be honest for a moment, I was sitting on my hands until Nip died. When Nip died, it wasn't because Nip died. It was because everybody else was so sad. I have my own relationship with Nip. In fact, one of the brothers that gave Nip knowledge of self is the brother that gave me knowledge, had a hand in me having knowledge of self. So one of the brothers that mentored Nip mentored me. He was a rolling 60s crip, but he was also 5%. And well, you're not going to hear those stories, right? Because we don't go around telling what we did and who we did it for, and yeah, I'm responsible for this person and that person. We don't really do that. We, as 5%ers, if you know a 5%er, we got all kinds of stuff going on with us, but we always try to inspire people to be better. That's what we do. We give out something to help people become better. And so, I know that what comes with that life sometimes, and I was, I understood, I knew, and this is what can happen. But when I saw how the people felt, there was an air of celebration and love and remembrance and all that good stuff. There was that, but there was something else in the water. Y'all know what I'm talking about? There was something else internal. It wasn't like a family member, it was like a piece of you. Nip was like the piece of us that would just do it all. And he represented like, I'm gonna just be honest, it was a bit of a Messiah thing going on with him. And I think if we talk about what that Messiah complex is, it really is the expectation that one person's gonna do it all. One person's gonna lead us to the finish line. I think that's why it was important that he named his album The Victory Lap. Like, I'm done. And then he left the rest of us with The Marathon Continues. Like, you're not. I think that's the feeling that's fucking with us. That's the feeling. It's not the feeling of loss. It's the feeling of pressure. It's the feeling of demand. It's the reminder that you are still here. He's done. You cannot call him back up. But here he left you, and not only did he leave you with the inspiration, but with a blueprint. So a lot of us, and this is where I think part of where I come in. Part of where I come in is making the blueprint a little bit more digestible. Because if you just take the blueprint as is, and you say, well, goddamn, I gotta build a whole corner that's thriving. I gotta start a hair company, an app, I gotta start, a record label, sell CDs for $100. I gotta do a lot of stuff, clothing line. No, you don't have to do all that. That's not what you're doing. But we feel that pressure. And what is the pressure that we're feeling? We're just feeling the pressure to become. To become. Does that make sense so far? Mm-hmm. I hope that don't sound too much like church, but this is part of you becoming. This ain't selfish. This ain't, yeah, you can be self-centered, if you know that you're bringing all the good in life and love to you. It's not about being unhealthy. When everything is being drawn into you, the next challenge is figuring out what you do with it. Because you can bring a lot of attention your way, you can bring a lot of money your way, you can bring a lot of pressure your way, and you can fuck it all up. And destroy yourself in the process. And so they go to the other thing that we're scared of. What if I go to be great? And then I wreck it all. I'll be honest, I was sitting on my hands because I was a little, I'm a widower. If y'all don't know, I'm a widower. Right? So the woman that built this publishing company with me that allowed me to do a lot of what I'm doing now, I lost her in 2014 to breast cancer. And so for 5 years, I was figuring out how to be a daddy. I already knew how to be a daddy, but a single daddy. A single daddy and a business owner, and I didn't want to be on cameras. I didn't do this at all. If I did, I would take a drive somewhere nearby where people asked to see me, but that would be about it. And there's a lot of us doing that right now. In our own ways. Like we've given ourselves our reason not to shine. You have a business that you might be half running. Just half running it. You're not running it with like the zeal and enthusiasm of the angels. You understand what I'm saying? You're not putting it together like a drum beat. You know what I mean? You're not marching with your mission. You're not going dumb hard. You doing stuff. There's a difference. And everybody knows the difference. Now, she's turned up. Her right there, she turns up. Because when I listen to her pitch her business, she's living it. And I would venture to say that she's even at half-mast. Because if that's how turned up she is already, I have no idea what more is waiting within her. So, I'm just imagine yourself when all the output you're doing becomes input. Imagine yourself when all the looking at the building you're doing instead becomes building. Because builders build, and other people just watch the building. Right? So when we make this transition and really believe in ourselves, then you take whatever it is you got, even if it's glass straws. And the reason why that lady can be out there proudly with her glass straws is because she don't have no doubts, no fears. She doesn't have had the experience with being exploited or taking something and then having it criminalized and then getting ticketed and going to jail for selling this thing that's ingenious. She doesn't have that experience, so she can just be out there pure and free. I need you guys to figure out the same thing. Based off a different premise, based off the premise that my people have survived. My people have found ingenious ways to make it through just about everything. Therefore, we will rise in amazing ways that I can't even anticipate now, but I'm open to it. Everybody know what Nip's first name meant, right? Hermes, Askedon. It means God has risen. Yeah, God has risen. Elijah Muhammad told us a long time ago that after him, there would be no more prophets. After him, he said we'd only be face to face with God. And he said we would see God in the people themselves. And that's what I come from as a 5%er. Our tradition was meant to really bring that out. We taught that to the youth so that everybody would know. Y'all are living it out right now. Just this morning, we were talking about superpowers, and my web designer, for some, I don't even know how the connection works. He's on social media talking about his superpowers because he's thwarting off cyber attacks from Russia and Singapore while I'm here. And that's his superpower. Everybody in here's got one. And when you start doing like Superman, and you start drawing all that energy in, you start taking that love that you got, like people saying like, yo, you're the greatest, and you don't shut them down no more, say thank you. You're doing so amazing. Stop having to shut down the compliment. Thank you. Stop being unable to accept love. Thank you. If somebody invites you to something, if somebody say, I want you on this conference call, receive it with love. See what's coming. There's something coming. I'm only giving you this one right here because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I got a book called How to Hustle and Win that talks about how to change the way you think, make money, and live. It's the book I tell everybody to read first, right? But in that book, it's about perspective. It's about the way that we see that life is structured, the way that we see the game is structured. I mean, this society, like, we know that it's not meant for you to win, right? Like, this society is meant to destroy you. You weren't meant to make it. You consider dispensable, expendable, you name it, right? That's not because you're inferior. Y'all know that part though, right, too? That is because you actually represent the greatest thing that exists within this world. And that's what I spent my life studying too, as a historian and as a child of Bengali immigrants that grew up in a Black and Hispanic community. Like, I had to learn why I was there. Everything you've been through was a special assignment. Mine was too. Your life has been your special assignments. So my special assignment was like, learn what's going on with the Black man and woman of America. Like, from the very base of this experience. And then also go to see the highest heights of what this also represents. And then be able to share that perspective with everyone that you meet. Because the miseducation campaign is so heavy that they are teaching the whole world that the Black man and woman is inferior, that the Black man and woman is bound for extinction. But the teachers of the world, the secret teachings of the world, say the opposite. Mm-hmm. Y'all know that part, right?
Yep.
So the secret teachings of the world teach that Black people are the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the ending. You are the source from which it comes and that to which it returns. Your bloodline is no longer just from one place. Your bloodline represents literally millions of ancestors that have produced your set of specific, unique genetics. You are a composite of deities and people and travelers and sages and mystics and warriors and kings and royalty and all that is in your tree. And all that made you. And you have tribes in your bloodline that are still fighting each other. That's why some of us got autoimmune disorders. Your body is fighting itself. And you have to transform the way that your body, your mind, all of you perceives itself. So I don't want to get deep, like, oh, I thought I was learning about money. Yeah, you are. There's basic money. Like, oh yeah, you want to make more money every year. There's people in this room that can help you with that. If you come here and you spend $100 a month, you're guaranteed to make more than $100 a month. There's no way that you can come here and not make the investment back, because when you come here, you're pressed to make the investment back. You've got to make something off your time. Every time you sit here, you're thinking, how can I make $100 just this one time I'm here? So, You can get the money just by meeting with the people that's in this room. Please make sure that you stay connected to everybody that's in this room. But what I'm teaching and what we want to do at the Solutionary Institute, let me put that other website up. The school I'm building is going to allow us to do more than just build wealth that doesn't last. There's a lot of people making the argument that capitalism is not the answer. You making money by yourself is not the answer. That's why you began for a reason with, we all got to get it together. So now we're going to get there. If we change our perspective and if we change how we think about ourselves, only then can we be successful with each other. But if we're currently on self-hatred, if we're currently on distrust, if we're currently on you gonna leave me hanging anyway, if we're currently on abandonment syndrome, betrayal syndrome, resentment syndrome, I got anger problems, I don't show up sometimes, I don't keep my word, if I'm still dealing with that, it don't matter how much money on the table, we gonna fuck it up. Do y'all understand what I'm saying now? So when we come together, we bring in our dysfunctions together and they playing. We letting our demons play. Our demons are talking to each other. When you argue with somebody, that ain't you arguing with them 9 times out of 10. That's y'all demons having an argument. So you can't let your representative keep speaking for you. You got to get to what? Knowledge of self. So the Solutionary Institute, everybody heard it. So, you know, that could be what's within you, the light within you, but it's also, that means, anybody know what this means in Latin? Solar. Sun. Remember, the sun is a self-generating source of power. It does its own nuclear fission and fusion to produce heat and light. That's what we're becoming. And remember, it's not just one sun up there. It's not just one sun up there. It's a bunch of suns and it's a bunch of stars, right? Those are all suns. And they have their own solar system to serve. They have their own family. They have their own unit that they have to be there for. You have your people that are counting on you. That is your first unit. Unity means one. Common means with. Community is something that is known for togetherness and unity and oneness. Now, you can't do this unless you got that oneness already within you. If you start seeing everybody else as separate from you, against you, a possible trickster and traitor, rather than a fellow sufferer. See, now if you understand them as a fellow sufferer, then if they act crazy, you get it. If they do something wrong, you get it. Because we're prone to doing bullshit. We're prone to making mistakes. Sometimes I'm other than myself, sometimes I'm not acting right. Sometimes I'm acting crazy. We accept that about each other. We do that sometimes. We're going to grow out of that. But we can't look at each other like potential enemies, because that's going to keep us from having this. And this universe, this whole experience that we have in, verse is about returning. It's about getting back to yourself. This whole experience we're going through as we learn what it means to be the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the ending, this eternal thing that is represented by blackness, from the beginning, blackness of space, to the end of this universe, right? For you to be that consistent, stable, black dot that never goes nowhere, that represents permanence itself, that represents the deity, the creator itself, right? The infinite essence and permanence of the creator itself. You have to know you're going through a lot of stuff to get back to you. The further we have been taken away from us, the more we have to break down, the more barriers we got to destroy to get back to the real us. We talked about trauma, pain, dysfunction, everything that we're doing wrong. I want you to look around if you can. Look at everybody in the room and just try to find yourself. The way you do that is look for somebody that don't look like you. Look for somebody that's different from you on the outside. But in their looking, you will see them looking the same way you do. You're going to find somebody that has a similarity of experience. For example, you're looking nervously, they're looking aggressively. You're seeing yourself. You gonna find your mirror. You looking happily, they looking sadly. You finding yourself. You get what I'm saying? That's not the opposite of you. That's the other side of you. Do you get what I'm saying? You're all multifaceted aspects of a one dynamic energy. That's the only way you can reconcile all this. You can't make all this divine talk make sense unless you recognize that you're all aspects of this one great source. The Quran even say He, Allah is one. And it say that Allah says, I did not make tribes of you out of a single clot of blood and make man and woman so that you could despise each other, but so that you could get to know one another. So the reason for diversity, the reason for challenge, the reason for struggle, setback, exploitation, and all that is for you to get back to yourself. You have to go through hell to get to right, to get back right. So these difficulties that you're experiencing in learning how to love your people have a lot to do with learning how to love yourself. The part of yourself that don't want to show up. How do you love the one that don't want to show up? Because you got a part of you that don't want to show up sometimes. So by you figuring out how to address that part of you that don't want to show up, you can address all the ones that don't want to show up. When you can address the one that just want to joke and play all the time and want to run from the work, and you can figure out how to bring them in too, oh, now you're doing amazing work. See, this is what real wealth and real community and real nation building is built up based on. I see so many people saying, yo, I thought we'd be able to do it if we brought everybody to the table. That's the worst way. I said, stop for a lot to that. That's condemning the people. You done told me that 90% of the people is burnt out? That's not right. That's not right. You've given up on too much of yourself. That's like saying all of me is bad except for this part. It's very unhealthy thinking. So instead, we have to look at it like, no, we all have the ability to win. Many of us have been programmed wrong, but I'm going to begin the reprogramming within myself and emanate. Once you've finally done this, now it can come back out. And that's actually how the sun functions. See, if you can do that, you ain't never going to need for money. You ain't going to never need for support. You're going to always have people that they know what you did for them or what you did for somebody else. You ain't not going to be like it. You're going to have somebody, they're too broken to help you back out like you helped them. That's not the way the relationship works. You help that one person that you know can't help you because they going to help somebody that you don't want to talk to. Do you realize that you might have some homeless friends? You might not kick it with them every day. But your friendship with that one homeless person or with those few homeless people that you may not see every day is what allows them to have a meaningful friendship with their homeless friends that's doing worse than them. And you don't have access to those people. You don't be where they're on heroin at. But one of your friends is on heroin. And they with them. And by you being good to them, it allows them to be good too. That's how the ripple spreads. So when you can actually allow the whole community to come in, when you can figure out what do the drug addicts do. In La Perla, which is one of the toughest neighborhoods in Puerto Rico, they had the cleanest hood I've ever seen. Do you know what all the drug addicts have to do? Yes.
Clean.
Clean.
Wow.
Clean. You could be out here, but you're not going to be out here dirty. You're not going to be out here nasty. You're going to clean. They also dump the bodies in the water. They do that too. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world. I'm saying there's a dark road out there, but you are the light. There's a dark road, and you are the light. That's the main thing that you got to keep on coming with. So even in a dark world, like what we're talking about, man, they make it to where it's clean and it's pretty and it's safe. It's safe for the most part because actually, even though I say that they do dump the bodies, the only way you end up as a body is if you violate the codes. You have to break the rules. You have to break serious rules, and there are rules in place. They're like, for example, if you allow a family person to get trapped up with the law and they didn't have nothing to do with it, he is allowed to snitch and tell on you, and you're going to go to jail. And if you don't go to jail, they might kill you. That's a code. And the only way you establish that code is when you have everybody at the table and everybody feels loved. And I'm going to show you a simple and easy way to do that. If everybody one way that they can make money, Anybody can go to one of these estate sales because all you gotta do is put in your zip code. You can go in with only $20, and with only $20, you can take your first step, as I just showed you, to being on a whole new track in life.
What's the website on top?
This is my school. The SolutionaryInstitute.com is the school I'm building, and I'm building it around the books that I've been putting out since 2008. This is the first book. And I'm going to pass around a flyer now for those who don't have one. Just if you can grab one and just pass it around. That's for one of the history books that we put out. What we do is, my doctorate is in non-formal education. I'm going to actually just drop a book on the table. And this is another way to sell stuff. You put something in somebody's hands and let them decide they want it. Basic sales. I'm not going to expect you all to buy everything you get. I just want you to take a look so you can know. This is how I made my impact on the world through education and publishing. And there's quite a few people that have read these books. And to close out, because I really, I can close this part right here. We started something called the Start Your Own Bookstore program. These books do so well and they circulate so fast, people pick them up, they want to steal them. Like so, we made it to where it's like, hey, get a bag of books, and for $100, we'll send you about 13 books, and you'll have about $230 worth of books for $100, and you'll have a bag. Because I didn't have it set up so that I could employ people, but before I learned how to employ, I learned something called putting somebody on. Putting somebody on is as simple as putting some product in their hand for them to sell. And we learned this from drugs, and then we took the drugs and applied it to music, but I took the drug and the music game and I applied it to books. And 10 years ago, Joaquin had hundreds of copies of How to Hustle and Win that played a major role in this city taking the shape that it's in now. Because there's adults that were informed by that book and by the curriculum that came along with it from that long ago. So now we tell people like, yo, you could be a lighthouse too. You could be a source of change too. You can make money while empowering your community too. And then there's 1,000 other things that go along with that. So I will tell you just some of the things that we cover at the school. We cover publishing your own book. We cover web-based businesses, right? Which means there's people that are homeless right now that'll tell you they don't have an Instagram. That's problematic. Because even if you're homeless, you can have an Instagram. Even if you're homeless, you can have an email, Instagram, and a website. You can go to the library and do this, right? So what I want to do is make it to where we can bring everybody to the table, because we have quite a few people that are geniuses that are locked out of participation because nobody else will let them participate. I need some of us to become the kind of people that are willing to work with those geniuses. There are people that are in the world that just need a chance to become great, for you to see what they do. There's people that are out there that are painting up a storm and nobody's ever given them structure. And their life is falling apart for whatever reason, and nobody's been there to just check on them. All right? So you want to make money, it's going to take community. And I promise you, these relationships that I'm talking about, the kinds that you may not be excited about going out to have, those are the ones that will bring the wealth to you. Those are the things, because it's just a weird way that life works. Especially, for us, because we all have weird circumstances. Yeah.
Can I get a deal for all three?
Absolutely, I'm a hustler. That's what we do. Okay. Absolutely. I'm whatever y'all want to do, just see me at the end. But I just want to make sure I cover all this, because we also want to talk about real estate. We also want to talk about natural health. We also want to talk about homeschooling, because homeschooling can happen even if your kids are in school, because once they get home, you go to school. And we talk about how these can all turn into money, because you can have a consulting service. You can have a school that you run out of your home that you let other parents bring their children to. You can publish your own book and have residual income and be on Amazon. And every time you speak, your book is your calling card. Instead of you having to argue with people and explain to them what you've been through, what you think. If you have a business, you can have a short book that explains your story in business and some ideas of how to do business with you, and then at the end, it's hit me up if you need more. Real estate, you got people in here that do this. I shouldn't even have to talk to you about it. I will say that there's ways that you can get into real estate even if you cannot buy the home. You could be in a space that you're renting out and Airbnb it. And with the stuff that you put in the estate sale, you can have stuff selling out of your house. Then don't forget there's also cheaper forms of real estate. We sell domains. I put two good words together, like veganedibles.com. Somebody's gonna buy that. Right? So think about it. You can buy I bought veganribs.com for $8.30. Right? Somebody's gonna buy vegan ribs. Right? Just think about it. There's people that my homeboy sold his website for $350 10 years ago. And I'm mad because I should have been selling websites that long ago. There's 1,000 ways to make money. If you have questions about them, ask me. But you know what I'm encouraging you to do beyond reading these books and joining the school is to do something a little bit different, which is to invest in yourselves and invest in each other. And Curtis, thank you, man, because this doesn't exist everywhere. So y'all ability to do this and do it here with such a progressive group of people, that's really powerful. And I'm saying that coming from Atlanta, where everybody thinks we got it going on. Don't let the internet fool you. Yes, brother.
Oh no, I just wanted we had a train of thought earlier. He was going to introduce us to two hashtags. He was referencing India, and just talking about there's two hashtags.
On Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yes, thank you. I'm all over the place. I appreciate it. Absolutely. I want you to look up Unfair and Lovely, because Fair and Lovely was how they used to market light skin to Asia. They have skin bleaching creams and other products that are called Fair and Lovely. It's a whole marketing campaign about how light skin is beautiful, fair and lovely. So the dark-skinned women of India started an anti-campaign called Unfair and Lovely, where they were anti-light skin and actually promoted dark-skin beauty. Then they went a step further. So Unfair and Lovely came out about 3-4 years ago. I actually got tagged in this because that book that's on those tables, one of them at least, Black God. Black God features gods from all over the world, Krishna, Asar, you name it. Tells the story of how they were black and why they were black. Because they were people. Black people that did amazing stuff. There is now a hashtag. It's called Dark is Divine. It is based out of India. It's an Indian photographer that took all the gods of India and instead of portraying them as light-skinned, portrayed them as dark-skinned Indians. So the people of India are beginning to fall in love with their blackness. Because when you translate dark as divine, it's basically black as God. So, the world is slowly going to come along. Even the Indian nations and the Hispanic community is going to have to address their blackness at some point. Their black history is going to be an issue. Even the Native American community is going to have to address their anti-blackness, and by addressing their anti-blackness, then they can actually address their blackness. There's a lot that has to happen. And so, this is just the beginning of it. And this right here this looks like a goddamn physics lecture. But it is, in a way, because the more I think about money, I think about value, I think about currency, I think about relationships, I think about the circuit that we're on, and I think about how we're connected to each other. So for me, if we can increase that in a meaningful way, then money increases. The network, y'all heard this a ton of times, right? Your network is your net worth. There's a reason for that. And then if you think about the people that you're around and the people you know, if you're the smartest or the wealthiest or the most forward-thinking out of all of them, just change your circle. And you got the opportunity here. I know you can find people here that represent a little step up. So don't cut off the old people. Bring the old people to meet the new people. And keep on meeting new people. And make sure that your team likes meeting new people. Make sure you don't bring nobody with you that want to stay stuck. Just challenge them. Hey, look, are we making a pact? You know what I made recently? I made a pact with my brother. It was called a non-suicide pact. I told his crazy ass that if he ain't going to kill himself, I won't either. It was a non-suicide pact.
You wasn't going to kill him or you weren't going to kill yourself?
And I didn't have no reason to kill him. He's a good dude. He's just like me. But I know that he goes through his life is as crazy as mine, and he spirals like I do, right? And I don't have a problem talking about it. I'm very transparent. So he was spiraling when I talked to him, and I just realized, you know what? You as crazy as I am. Because for a while I'd be like, yo, you got a whole other kind of craziness. No, he don't.
Right.
He got the same craziness in a different context. I went to school, he in the streets. You see what I'm saying? He still got the ability to murder something. I can't go do that. But his craziness ain't no different from mine. Because when I cut you off, when I burn a bridge, I might as well be murdering you. But the thinking, the reactiveness, we're triggered. We are emotional time bombs, many of us. We kind of like nuclear waste, like we're waiting for the spill to happen. And you got to be careful because you can toxify everything around you. You know, and that's why like this getting back to that healthy sense of self is important. Can y'all stop? Can everybody make an agreement? Let's make a pact. No more pouring into the cup with the holes in it. Fair?
Yes.
All right. Now we know this. If a cup got a hole in it, if you got somebody that's a friend, they got a cup with a hole in it, you don't pour in that cup unless they're going to do what? They got to patch that cup. Now, with a hole in the cup, do you patch it from the outside or do you got to patch it from the inside? Think about it. If you got a hole on the boat, where do you patch from? Outside or inside?
Inside.
Inside, or else it's going to bust out, right? Which means you got to do what to do the patch? Empty it. Empty it. First you got to empty it and then you got to get in. Right? So we have to challenge people to do that. So when they go be on our team, it needs to be team accountability. Team transparency. Team, I was just fucking up. Team, I've been bullshitting. But team, I'm going to do better. Team, I'm not doing that today. Team, I'm on something better today. That's the team.
I got a question.
Go for it. Anybody, let's close this out, man. Thank you for having me. And what? No, we got what?
Got a couple
Questions?
yeah, prompts.
Prompts?
Yeah.
Well, can we do questions and then prompts? Cool.
I mean,
Questions?
they don't gotta dig too deep. People don't gotta dig too deep. Like just with the bullet points, you know, how to turn your passion into profit.
Oh yeah. I feel like I did that in this very vague way. Like I want you to think about how much you're worth per hour. Did you all think about what you do that's worth money? I can't be responsible if you didn't do the assignment now. I can't be held responsible if you didn't think about it. Did anybody raise your hand if you thought about what you do that's worth some dollars? Okay. What do you do that's worth you being flown out the country? Anybody got that yet? All right. Can you keep it so funky that they want to hear about how you spit in China? That's what we need you to be able to present it in Romania. Okay? We need you to make the wealthy white folks, it's going to sound so exotic when you say it, and you do it. Okay? So that kind of thinking. Some of us are artists, we don't know we are. Some of us are creators, we don't know we are. So for me to have you all figure out what your thing is, it may take a bit if we do it one by one. So all at once, turning your passion into your profit just requires you thinking about what do you do when nobody's paying you to do it? What do you like doing when you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning? What would you do even if people was like, I want you to stop doing this, and you're like, nope. Well, there's a good chance that thing can be maximized for profit potential. And that's just a matter of you tweaking and learning how it really works. You had a question, I felt like, right? Or was it?
I had
Or
one.
was you? Yeah.
Yeah, alright, so it's kind of hard for me, like, because I don't judge nobody, you know what I'm saying? So, like, when I look at somebody, when I first meet them, I look at the best in them, you feel what I'm saying? So, like when you say, like, don't be with people that got holes in their cup, that's kind of hard for me because, like, I don't know it until I notice it, you know
That's
what I'm saying?
fine.
It take a while.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. So you realized the cup had a hole in it after you done poured something in there, and they came back with an empty cup a few times, and you kind of seen that they did that a few times. And that's cool because we're accepting, for most of us as givers and good people, we're accepting of that. We normalize that. Do y'all think everybody in this world is a giver for real? Okay, so we can't make the assumption that everybody we're meeting is like us. Some people actually like us because they're takers. They like us because they know we got it to give. And they feel weak. I'm not saying that they're bad. Some of them feel weak and they feel like it is your job to put the juice in their cup. There's some people that they might think you got money and they think it's your job to lend them money or let them have money because you got it and they don't. There's some people that's like that, and you just got to be mindful that you don't find yourself feeling exploited after enough of those people had their way with you. Because it's in scammery, there's this thing, it's the scam list, it's the dummy list. If you answer that phone and you give your credit card number or your social or whatever and you get scammed, that's not the last time you're getting called. They're going to call you a week behind that with the new scam that's going to tell you, I'm going to help you get up out that old scam. And you're going to get scammed twice. Okay? Because you are showing the thinking of somebody that gets scammed. You're willing to believe that, oh, you're going to give me something? Okay, I'll take it. That's the reason why those of us is righteous, we healthy, we want to love people, we get abused. And those of us that get abused a lot of times get bitter and get resentful and stop being righteous. And then say they want to retire.
Yeah, I was just about to get to that too. I was like, man, like is it better just to be by yourself or just...
There you go. This is why so many good people end up out of the community. So let's talk about it. Some people gonna come to the community to take. In every community, you got people that's gonna take more without doing as much. Do you know you can figure this out with very simple assessments? I mean, back in the day, you could look and see who helped with the cleanup on the event. At the end of this day, we can easily see who put chairs back, who left a mess at their table. Somebody literally is gonna leave a piece of paper with their name on it, first and last name, a mess, garbage, maybe a little doo-doo, who knows? And you know that that's what they do. Now you can invite them back, but you know that you better watch them for leaving the doo-doo next time. You know what I mean? Same way, it's like, all right, you have a friend over, you have them ride with you, they don't offer no gas, they don't offer no good help, support, nothing kind to make you, how are you doing today? See, we don't expect that. But why not? Low self-esteem. I don't deserve somebody to care about how I'm doing today. Because I'm a bum. I'm a this. I come from that. I used to do this. Therefore, I can't be so good that people should treat me good. And that's why where I've been lecturing lately, I've asked everybody to do this, and I'm going to ask y'all to do the same thing. I need you to seriously and sincerely say to yourself and to the rest of us these two words. And I need you to mean it. This is not a cult thing. This is not a chant. It's very real, very simple. I'm good. The reason I need you to say that and think that is because we don't think it most of the time. We don't think we're good. We think we're anything else but good. And because we don't think of ourselves as good, we don't think we're deserving of good treatment and good people and people being good to us. Because I might not be that good to get treated that good. Like, maybe I don't deserve that good. Like, you ever seen somebody cook for you and you're like, wait a minute, no, I didn't deserve all this. Or somebody got you a gift that you're like, oh, no, that's too much for me. You know, there's some people that do that with no matter what you give them. You can give them a quarter and they're going to act like that. They don't think they're good enough for anything. So if that personality annoys you, don't be that. When somebody say, man, I wanted to give you this $10,000 necklace, thank you. Just say thank you. Just say thank you. Be willing to receive it, because then you'll change from the people that'll be like, hey, I gave you some doo-doo, now can you ride me around the city while I talk your ear off about dumb shit? You see what I'm saying? Isn't this exchange? I'm bringing y'all back to business again, right? Because look at what they're doing. It's an investment, right? Hey, I'm bringing you nothing. I'm bringing you nothing but pain and demand and want and lack. Are you going to sponsor me? And if he do, is he a good businessman?
No.
So now we see why we broke. We're not broke because of actual lack of labor or lack of work or lack of genius or lack of talent or lack of passion or lack of a market. Because we got money all around too. A lot of it is the brokenness that's in the spirit. A lot of it is what we expect out of the universe, what we want it to give us. Do we want hunger, hard times, nakedness, and being out of doors? Or do we want the good life? A lot of us told ourselves that we ain't going to have it. And our parents kind of convinced us to. It's going to be very hard for you to tell your children if you don't believe it. Remember, your parents is trying to tell you that you're going to have a good life, but didn't really believe it. Which is why we have a hard time with it. We don't all really believe it. And then maybe you were young and you started to believe it, and then life knocked your ass down, and you stopped believing in it. That ain't what life was supposed to do to you. That was supposed to motivate you, like this shit. You know, I'm going through some shit to get to where I gotta be. I mean, I could have looked at what I went through like, oh man, I need to throw in the towel. Or find me a day job.
About quitting your day job successfully,
Oh man.
building your brand fast, these are a couple of things that was.
Give it to me real quick. I want to be sure I go through all of them. Because I know I gave y'all the thing and then I did my own thing. That's what I do sometimes. We talk about making money without a 9 to 5 because there's a lot of ways to do it, right? Quitting a day job successfully. Real simple, I give it to you in one sentence. Calculate your hourly rate. When you're working on your side hustle, your evening hustle, whatever your hustle is, figure out how much money you made and how many hours it took you to make it. That is your hourly rate. That is your hourly wage. When your hourly wage at your side hustle is greater than your hourly wage at your day job, then you can leave your day job. When you know you're making more money at your side hustle than at your day job, then you can leave. Until then, do both. Lose sleep. It's alright. Building your brand fast, that's social media. That means you're going to have to be your brand. That means you're going to have to really rep it. That means you're going to have to live it. And that is where the esteem component comes in. And if you do not have the esteem to act like you are $1 million player in this industry and figure out what that looks like, talks like, sounds like, dresses like even, then it's not going to be that fast for you. It's going to be much slower, and that's fine too. Just whatever pace you need. Some people don't need to rush into money and fame too fast. It'll be too much too fast, it'll kill them. You gotta be careful. If you got a drug habit now, don't get $1 million, you'll OD. No, seriously. $1 million don't free you from the problems that the drugs are there for. $1 million just give you more money to buy more drugs. Alright, so you gotta know about these things. Networking and partnerships. That is what I've been pushing. If you leave here without knowing any new people, you are failing. Just being real. You don't want the money, you don't want the new life. You have to commit to new things. You have to commit to saying, hey, I seen somebody that I don't even know what they do, but I'm gonna get the information. We have Instagram and social media now. It's non-committal. You can follow people, have them follow you back without it being a big thing. There's no reason not to do it more often. And then just send that message. Hey, here's my number. If you ever need me, reach out. Employing, training, and managing your community. Put people on. Make them your sales team. Whatever your business is, give them a business card. They may not have the money for business cards. You take your business money, you print them up about 100 business cards with their name and their phone number on it, and make them a rep for what you're doing. Or give them your number, or put their name on it. Give them some way that they can represent what you're doing by talking about your brand, being able to be a brand ambassador, a sales rep, whatever you want to call it. Hey, my man makes wire jewelry, it's the best wire jewelry in Seattle. He actually gets the stones from such, and they're this, and they're that, and they mean this, and they mean that. And go to the website. But put in my code. You now have not employees yet, but you got people that you're putting money in their hands. And as your sales go up, their income goes up. You're going to have people that make the most sales. You're going to have people that are great reps. You're going to have people that you send to a festival and say, can you vend with me? You're going to have people that go to job fairs and go to other events and pass out flyers and do other forms of marketing for you. You're going to have people that are intelligent enough to say, you know what, I'm going to seek out a strategic partnership. Invite people to your table, and you might be surprised what they can do. But it's got to be at your level. So I'll tell you that the simplest way that you can start out with is if you have products, have some people be a sales rep. If you have a service, have some people be a commission sales rep. It's not that much commitment. They can't really fuck it up because the people still got to go to you to do business, but they're pushing your business into markets you might not be in. Last one is modern marketing and publicity. English is my second language, y'all. And I say that because I had to learn so much of what I'm doing that might seem like it's natural to me, and I might seem very comfortable doing it, but I had to become comfortable doing it. I'm naturally clumsy. I'm surprised I haven't tripped over everything in this room already. But it's a development that you go through to just build yourself up to be the person that's needed for those situations. So I'm working on becoming this marketable person. Because it requires you to be a certain way. If you want your business to run like really well, you have to accept that either you're not going to be the face of it, and someone or something is going to be the popular and shiny and funny face of it, or you're going to be that. You're going to be that. You can take a cartoon and do the voice for it, but someone's going to have to figure out how this business stands out from all the other people that are struggling and scraping and suffering to do the same things. Remember car salesmen's ads from way back in the day, how they wear crazy suits and act really nuts? People don't do that no more. People aren't willing to embarrass themselves for their business no more. People aren't willing to embarrass themselves for their families no more. So people are willing to put their hand on a car and die from not peeing on themselves, right? To get a free car. Y'all heard about that, right? People that die. Y'all never heard about this? You know, you gotta hold the car and then you can't leave and somebody drank too much water and they died. It was a whole mess. Yeah. They'll do that to get something. To get something that ain't even gonna carry them all the way. Because if you got a car and you can't afford it, it ain't really gonna get you where you need to go. But imagine for your first $10,000, you could make that in 3 months if you just go dumb hard. And don't be scared to embarrass yourself. Anybody got TikTok or a kid that uses TikTok on their phone? You might. It's okay. You're 19. I won't judge you. All right? Well, if your kids are on the internet, they got TikTok. There's an old lady on TikTok. A few of them. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't.
Yes,
I see my niece.
They don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit it. There's 19-year-olds don't want to admit that they be on TikTok. It's okay.
My niece is
Sure. All right. So now, there's an old lady that be on there acting nuts. Nuts. I thought it was an act. She's really just an old crazy lady. She's on there viral. Kids is watching. Adults is watching.
oh.
Miss something.
No. I think I did see her. It was on Facebook. I see her.
It's on Facebook too. Yeah. So there's people that are going viral just with their personality. And they're not even talking about a business. She literally gets online and says, "Give me money." And people send her money. You could get online and literally fart. No, I'm saying, you could, if you're a pretty girl, oh my goodness, you're really gonna make money. Don't be a pretty girl farting. What? I'm just telling you how to hustle with. What y'all expect? Y'all was gonna talk about farting for money? It happens. Now, I'm breaking this chair.
That's like you.
Yeah, hustlers, right? Hustlers. Let's say you'll box apart. I don't need the chair. I'm gonna close out. But I have women that I know. They might be low-key working in the sex industry. And they don't necessarily like it, but it's what they know how to do. It's comfortable, it's easy.
You think I could get in?
They take all types, they take everybody. You know? I know something that's all the way natural with a head wrap on doing it.
Then I know I can do it.
They're wrapped like you. That's her business.
Wow, there we go. That's perfect marketing. Head wrap. Yeah. Because you can have real seductive. You take the head wrap off like, and just throw it. Right.
I can
So
do that.
there you go. Sex sells. All right. So, I tell them, you know, your feet will make just as much money as your face. For real. People are paying for feet. People are paying for feet. There's a market for everything. The only reason I go into that realm is just to remind you, like, yo, stop thinking that there's, I gotta do this. I gotta make oil acrylic paintings. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. You can go buy walking sticks, canes for old people, paint the fuck out of them with African symbols, and then go to the senior center and see if you want to buy them. I'm just saying. I literally just came up with that. That's how my mind works. So I need you to be the same way when you look at life and you look at opportunities. I don't want you to tell yourself how many things you can't do. I want you to pick which ones you want to do out of the many that you can. And then pick which ones are the most likely for being your future. Because one of these things, it might not be all of them. One of these things might be your whole future. Just saying, On that, we'll close out with my favorite word, which is peace. So, peace.
Hey, Supreme, did you write that scam book?
I never finished the scam book. I didn't finish any books after Mecca passed. I literally had I have, if any of y'all are editors, publishers, I know you are, Prince, any of you like working on books, I've got like 100 unfinished books. If you wanna co-author a book with me, just let me know what you do, show me some of your work. I wouldn't mind. I'm really into partnerships, and if you want to be like, if you already an author, if you got content that match with mine, then we just put a book together, and that's marketing for the both of us. That's going half on a business. It's very easy to go half on a business with people if you just think about it.
What's the price realm of like starting to open or to write your own book? Like how much does it cost for publishing and all that?
I just had a client start his book, and he's getting his manuscript published for $500.
Okay.
So our base plan starts at $500, and we do everything. We do the book cover, the barcode, do some editing for you, the layout for you, and have you. You see our books. The books will look decent. They look decent. They'll feel decent. They ain't gonna fall apart when you open them. But most importantly, you're gonna have a business card that's more than a business card. You have a representative. When that book is in somebody's home, that's you speaking to them without you having to be there. Yep, so, yeah.
What's the name of your publishing company?
Supreme Design Publishing is the company that, if you go to supremedesignpublishing.com, you will find my books. You can find me at supremeunderstanding.com, or you can just go on social media to Supreme Understanding.